Okay, we're going to take a look at some word problems today, specifically a category of word problems called consecutive integer problems. So this problem specifically that we're looking at right now says find two consecutive integers whose sum equals 123. Okay, so you could probably figure this out just by guessing numbers and eventually you'll get it. But we're at the point now, when it comes to math, that we can find a better way. I know you've talked about using x. We're talking about variables. So whenever there's a number that we don't know, we call it a variable. So let me say that my first number is x. Right? I have two numbers. What's my first one? I don't know. So let's call it x. Great. What about my second number? Well, look at the problem again. It says consecutive. Now you got to think what that word means. You've probably seen it in different contexts, but consecutive means in a row. So what are examples of consecutive integers? Right? You know, an integer, basically it's a whole number. We'll call it a whole number. So two consecutive integers would be 8 and 9. Right? They're in a row. 12 and 13. 20 and 21. Things like that. So if my first number is x, what's the next one after that? How do we go from 8 to 9? Add 1. So I have my algebraic way of writing my two numbers. My first number we said is x. I don't know it, so let's call x the thing that we don't know. And then x plus 1, y, because consecutive integers means jumping by 1. So now if I have my two algebraic expressions, what's the next step? Look back at the problem. It says sum. So what happens if we add x plus 1? I get 2x plus 1. And now what does the problem say? Equals 123. I have turned my words into math symbols. Can you solve 2x plus 1 equals 123? Sure you can. Subtract 1 from both sides. We got 2x equals 122. Now, how is the 2 connected to the x? Multiplication. How do you disconnect them? Inverse operation, division. 122 divided by 2 is 61. Which means that this number is 61. So what's 61 plus 1? 62. And let's double check. Is 61 plus 62 equal to 123? Yes. We got it. Okay, let's do one more similar problem. This time, still going to be consecutive integers. And for the problems that I want you to work on, problems 3 and 4, I think you'll see how to extend it if there are 3 integers or 4 integers. Right? If the first is x and x plus 1 are the first two, what's the third one going to be? X plus 2. Okay? But for this problem, I only have 2 integers. But now, let's say the number does not equal 123. Let's say it equals negative 97. What do I do here? Same exact thing. My first integer is x. My second is x plus 1. The fact that my sum is negative doesn't change anything. Remember, x can be anything. X might be a negative number, which, because of this negative sign, gives us a good clue that it will be a negative number. So now let's do the sum again. 2x plus 1 equals negative 97. You know how to solve that. 2x equals negative 98. And remember, how is the 2 connected to the x? Multiplication. How are you going to disconnect it? Division. Negative 98 divided by 2 is negative 49. So what's negative 49 plus 1? Remember your addition and subtraction with negative integers. Negative 48. And what's negative 49 plus negative 48? Negative 97. If you need to double check how to do the addition and subtraction with negative integers, feel free to do that. But this is the system, putting a little algebra and figuring out how to solve these word problems. Feel free to email me if you have any questions. You have my email, jwise@mdyschool.org.